Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rehab Experience. I am Dr. Zeb, and I'm so excited to be here with you this morning on this awesome Sunday morning. Man, listen, I don't know why. It just feels like it's been forever since I've been with y'all. I was just with y'all last Sunday. I really miss my rehab family and really hope and pray that everything is all and well with you. We are in the middle of the Joseph series, and I don't know if y'all noticed, but today we on part 8. We've been rocking this series out. It has been an incredible series. Lord, my lighting is all over the place. It has been an incredible series. And y'all, we are getting to one of my favorite parts of the story. And I call this the redemption section, where Joseph really comes face to face with the people who counted him out. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm excited about this today. Listen, do me a favor. Would you do me a favor? Like this video, share this video, tag somebody, tell them to get up so that they can get their Sunday morning word on today. I've got a word today. We are teaching from the subject, different situation, same God. And this is going to be powerful. It's probably going to be part 1 or part 2 of this particular part of the Joseph series. If you all followed all of that, we have just really been going deep and in depth with this. And I want to encourage you again to just share this video with someone. Tell them to tune in, to subscribe to all of our networks. Our networks are still the same. We're still making adjustments here and there and gradually just getting things where they need to be. But just excited that you've taken the time to share with us and be with us today. Again, like the video, share the video. Let's get ready to walk right into the declaration. I don't want to waste time because I really want to get through as much of Genesis chapter 42, which is where we are today in the NIV. I want to get through as much of Genesis chapter 42 as I possibly can. But this is going to be a message today. This is going to be a message. This today is going to be a word. And I hope you are prepared and ready for this word the way I am. I want all of you to know that I'm praying for you, that I'm rooting for you, and certainly prayerful that things in your life are as well as they can be. We're going to talk about this today in some ways. But wow, what a powerful message last week about the power of gratitude and how gratitude then becomes so instrumental in our ability to move forward. That in fact, God allows us to experience great things now or in the past to prepare us for when things get rough in the future. And that's a very important premises to build the foundation of today's message on. And that's where we are. So before we get into all of that, let's walk through the declaration. You know the drill. Many people say, Doc, what in the world does REHAB stand for? Well, it's an acronym for Restore, Evangelize, Hope, Alternatives, Breakthrough. It's the 5 pillars by which, even in this virtual space, even as a ministry that we're holding on to, because we believe that the church should be a place. Your spiritual walk with God should be a place, a process that rehabs you, that rehabilitates you, that brings you from where you are to the best version of who you can be. And so we're going to continue to operate in these principles, because this is what God has absolutely called us to be and do. And so you should see the declaration on your screen. You should see it there right now. And let's walk through the declaration and we're going to say it together. I don't care what you're doing. Maybe you're still laying down or you're up getting ready for brunch or for church or whatever you're getting ready for. But I want you to walk through this declaration with me, because we're going to set the tone and tenor for your week right now. We're going to set the tone and tenor for it by making this declaration and repeating this over our lives so that we can show up this week in every place and space as the absolute best version of us. All right. So this is going to be powerful and I'm excited about it. All right. You should see it on the screen. Say this with me. Restore. We declare that everything that is broken, lost, hurt, or destroyed that belongs to us and has been designed by God is restored. My faith is restored. My joy is restored. My mind is restored. Even my lost time is restored. I am no longer broken. The fact that I'm alive means I have another chance. My faith has restored me. And right now, his love is making me whole. Evangelize. Say this with me. We declare that God helped us so we can help somebody else. He loved me when I was unlovable. He changed me when I was a mess. His love lifted me when I was down. I'm not perfect, but I'm free. And anything that came for me can't keep me. Because I'm free, my circle is next. My family is saved. My friends are blessed. My plans are successful. My goals are ahead of schedule. And anything connected to me is blessed, just like me. Hope. Say this with me. We declare that everything that is missing is not lost. In Jesus, I have hope. And this hope makes me confident. It doesn't matter what happens to me or around me. I'm going to win. My relationships are winning. My goals are winning. My family is winning. My neighbor is winning. This city will win, and my virtual row has the victory. My past is defeated, and my future is brighter today than it was yesterday. Alternatives. Say this with me. We declare that God made us different. I'm a royal child, the light of the world, and the hope of my city. I respect the past, but I don't look like what I've been through. I love the church, and my life is balanced. I love coming to church, but I like flights, boats, and vacations. My whole life is blessed. I am the head and not the tail. I am above and not beneath. I am a lender, not a borrower. And every place I go belongs to me. Breakthrough. Would you say this with me? We declare that God has a breakthrough with our name on it. I have some challenges, but I am not defeated. No weapon formed against me can prosper. And I know that all things are working for my good. Things are not breaking down, they are about to break. There is a breakthrough in my career. There is a breakthrough in my home. There is a breakthrough in my health. There is a breakthrough in my finances. I am here on purpose, for a purpose, and everything that went wrong is getting ready to turn around. My friends, did you make this declaration today? Huh? Did you make it this morning? Do me a favor. I want you to type in the comments if you made this declaration. What we've been declaring all of 2024. I'm going after more. Come on, hurry. I'm going after more. I want you to put that in the comments right now. This is your declaration, your official declaration for 2024 regarding every area of your life. I'm going after more. I'm not settling for where I am. I'm not settling for the way things are going. I'm not going to allow life to happen to me, but I'm going to dictate the terms of my life and take control of the path and the direction of my life. I'm going after more. Come on, put it in the comments quickly. I'm so excited about the enthusiasm. Yes, I see you typing. I'm so excited about the enthusiasm that I've experienced from so many messages from so many of you who are talking about the great things that are happening in your life so far in 2024. And I'm excited. It's nothing short of what I expected. But I want to talk to those of you where life maybe ain't shaking the way you want it to shake yet, where maybe life ain't moving quite in the direction that you wanted to move yet, where maybe things aren't popping and popping off in the way that you thought they would by now. I've got news for you. Things are going to get better. You've got to keep your focus solid and make the declaration. Doesn't matter what it looks like. I'm going after more this year. In every area of my life, I'm going after more. If I don't like what I have, I'm going after more. If I don't like where I am in this present time in my health, I'm going after more. If I'm not satisfied with my finances and I know that there's something great in store for me, I'm going after more. This is not the year to sit still, to be stagnant, to wait on good things to happen to you. But this is the year. This is the time where we not only trust God to do exceeding and abundant above all we can ask or think, but we also recognize that our faith without works is dead. And God, many of you are waiting on God, but God is waiting on many of you. I need you to make that declaration today and throughout the entirety of the week. I'm going after more. And man, I'm so excited for all of you. Listen, let's get into this. I want us to get into this I want you to type in the comments today's subject: a different situation, same God. Different situation, same God. And this is part one. Let's go ahead and get part one on that because I know this is going to take us 2 weeks. I'm telling you now, we're probably going to finish the month of February with part two of different situations, same God, because this is just going to be powerful. It's so much to unpack. And, Doc has just really I've just been on a teaching tear in my work, in my business, with my clients. I've really been on a teaching tear. God has really been good to us. And I promise you, I am just excited about this opportunity to be able to share with you today. Put it in the comments. Different situation, same God. Different situation, same God. God is literally about to make some things happen. And I'm excited for you. And let's get into this. I'm in Genesis chapter 42, the NIV. Genesis chapter 42 in the NIV is the version that I have. I want you to get a version that works for you. All right. Genesis chapter 42. Let me get my wires out of the way. Got wires everywhere. Genesis chapter 42 in the NIV. All right. This is what we've got. I want you to find it, follow through with me, because the best way to really teach this portion of this story, right? I know in other chapters, we've kind of been jumping around just a little bit in the different chapters. But when we get towards the climax of this story, we really have to read through the verses for context. And so there's 38 verses in chapter 42. And we're going to get through these verses. And that's why I say it's going to probably take 2 weeks. We may be able to get through half of this today. But let's read through this because we need to understand the backdrop. Again, the backdrop is simple: that Joseph prepares the people in Egypt to prepare for the famine that's coming. Joseph has been promoted to governor in the land of Egypt under Pharaoh's kingdom. And he's telling Egypt, listen, y'all store up all of this blessing that we're experiencing. Y'all store up your stuff, because there's a famine coming. And as sure as Joseph said it, the famine comes at the end of chapter 41. Yes, the famine comes at the end of chapter 41. And to the point where it's so bad that everybody in Egypt and around the world, here we go, because the last verse of chapter 41, verse 57 says, and all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe where? Everywhere. So it didn't matter where you were in the world. Everybody had to come to Egypt to get grain because there was a famine everywhere. This is important context. Now, chapter 42, NIV. Let me get some water. Chapter 42 in the NIV. Look at this. Verse 1. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob, Joseph's father, that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, why don't you just keep looking at each other? Why do you just keep looking at each other? He continued in verse 2. I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die. So it's interesting. This is going to be a revelation morning. It's interesting that Jacob looks at his sons, and the first thing he says to them is, why y'all just standing around looking at each other? We're in a famine. Like, why y'all sitting around like we don't have something to do or something needing to find something to be involved in to bring food to our house? Y'all just standing around here. He said, listen, I heard it was grain in Egypt. Why don't y'all go in there and buy something for us so we can live and not die? Has somebody ever said something to you? Has somebody ever said something to you and they said one thing, but they were really saying something else? Right? They were saying something to you and giving you a directive, telling you, what happened, but at the core, it really had a deeper meaning. Let me translate this for you. Verse 1 and 2 for you. When Jacob looks at his sons, the same ones that sold out Joseph, and says, why y'all just standing around looking at each other? What Jacob is really saying is, why y'all being lazy? Why aren't you all using the work ethic that you're supposed to have to help me figure out this problem with this famine? Now, Notice, when Joseph is given the dream about where he is, Joseph was the only one in the field working. Brothers were just chilling. He's out in the field doing what he's supposed to do. He gets this dream. He comes to his brothers and tells his brothers what the dream was. They sell him out. Interesting, though, that Joseph was the only one in the field when he has his dream. And he comes to his brothers to tell his brothers, who clearly weren't in the same field doing what? Working. So when Joseph is sold out, watch, his work ethic goes with him. Y'all, let me tell you something. You don't have to be the cutest. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to have the most money. But if you want to win in this phase of your life, y'all, you cannot afford to be lazy. Lazy never creates breakthrough. I want you to record it right now. Good God. Laziness will never create a breakthrough. I don't care how much you shout on it. I don't care how you prophesy to. I don't care who your mama, your daddy is. I don't care about none of that. If you lazy and got a lazy spirit, you can have grain around you and still starve. You can have access to opportunity around you and still starve. There's a whole lot of people, y'all, that's starving, not because they ain't got no resources. There's a lot of people starving because they lazy, too lazy to get up and do something about their situation. There's a whole lot of people that ain't prospering the way they could, not because they don't have access to opportunities. There's opportunities all around them. But they're too lazy to get up and do something about it. The book of Proverbs warns us of this. The book of Proverbs says that you got to be careful of the man that turns over on his bed like a hinge on a door. Because when you look at that man, it's going to be looking like a bush where thorns and nettles have grown all over it. The Bible calls that man slothful. And when you have a slothful spirit, you'll die unnecessarily. When you have a slothful spirit, you won't apply yourself to do something better about your situation. When you have a slothful spirit, this is the big one. You'll stand around and wait for somebody else to fix it. Oh, I'm teaching better than y'all saying amen. You will literally sit around and wait for somebody else to do something that you can sit right there and do yourself. Y'all, ain't nothing like working. I love working for myself, thank the Lord, because let me tell you something. Nothing grinded my gears more like working around a slothful person. A person who has the abilities to excel, to do well, who has all the resources at their fingertip, except one problem. They're too lazy to take care of the things that they're supposed to take care of. You got to be careful of a slothful spirit. A slothful spirit, meaning one that's lazy, that's not proactive instead of reactive. A slothful spirit will leave you hungry. A slothful spirit will cause you not to reach goals in your life that you want to reach. A slothful spirit will have you creating excuses to justify your behavior. Will have you putting more effort into you being tired than putting effort into doing what is necessary to come out of your situation. Slothfulness even impacts your health. You gotta be careful. There's a reason why everybody doesn't work out. You know why? Everybody doesn't work out because working out is work. Work out. Which means you got to do something. You got to do something. Could it be that your life is emotionally starving because you haven't done something about your emotions? Could it be that your thoughts are mentally starving you because you haven't done something about your mentality or your thoughts? You have to be willing to do something about it. Y'all, do me a favor. Type in the comments in all capital letters. That's a really good one to remember. All capital letters. Do something about it. And it's clear that when Joseph left, y'all, the work ethic left with him, which is why, let me say this for all of you like me who weren't the smartest crayons in the box. I tell my clients a lot of stories about me and my brother and my sister. My brother and sister are geniuses. They're walking geniuses. You look at their kids and it's showing. And I'm blessed my kids are smart, but perhaps they got that from their mama. Their daddy, me, was a late bloomer. I think I'm relatively smart now, but my parents will tell you honestly, and I'm not sure if they're on this morning, but they will tell you honestly. I had to work hard. I had my dad as a ninth grade world geography teacher. I had to work hard. You know, I had to study for tests. I had to read things over and over and over and over again to get them and to get a grasp on them. My brother and sister didn't have to do that. My sister, brother and sister, we would have to test to be in talented and gifted classes. They call them advanced classes now, or AP classes. We used to have to test to get into that back in the day. And I remember dad would make us all test because he wanted us in advanced classes because he felt like it looked better on our transcripts for college, and it did. But there was one problem. I had to study and read things over and over and over and over and over again to understand it. And I didn't do well on those standardized testing in. My brother and sister, they always passed. In fact, my brother would go to sleep in class. I remember stories where daddy would hear Chris is in class sleep and then come to class and make an A on the test. Y'all, some people are blessed with the gift of intelligence. And then some of us, y'all, have to have a work ethic. Let me tell you something I discovered about having a work ethic and being willing to do something about your situation. When you got a work ethic, watch. You don't have to be the sharpest crayon in the box. You don't have to have the most degrees behind your name. You don't even have to have the most networks or contacts. When you are a hard worker, opportunities find you. When you are a hard worker, resources find you. When you are a hard worker, things just seem to magically fall in your lap. And I have a theory. I believe that God blesses those who bless themselves. God helps those who help themselves. Are y'all following me? All right. So this is important here. We've got to be willing to do something about our situation and not stand around and wait for the situation to change, but to work to change it ourselves. All right. Let's keep going. Y'all like and share the video. This is good this morning. Ooh, I lost all my notes. There we go. So verse 3, Genesis chapter 42, verse 3. I'm in the NIV. Y'all give me about 15 more minutes. We're doing good. Verse 3, then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with the others because he was afraid that harm might come to him. Verse 5, so Israel's sons were among those who went to buy grain, for there was a famine in the land of Canaan. So it just says that Jacob, Israel, sends the brothers, but he doesn't send Benjamin because Benjamin was fearful that something bad was going to happen. All right? Didn't send them. Look at verse 6. Now Joseph was the governor of the land. Here we go. Here we go. The person who sold grain to all its people. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, I'm in verse 6, chapter 42, NIV. When Joseph's brothers arrived, watch, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. They bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. Isn't it interesting how God will set things up to where situations will get the best of you, but he'll shift the situation so that you get the best out of it? Y'all, excuse me, I'm about to run. Did y'all hear what I said? that situations that got the best of you, that God will shift things so that you get the best out of it. Doc, can you say that and make that a little bit more plain? I sure will. The same people that counted Joseph out had to turn around and need him. And if there was ever a challenging thing that I talked to people from all around the world, literally Monday through Friday and some Saturdays, one of the things that I challenge people literally all around the world to understand is that your number one job is to do good. Record it in the comments. Your number one job is to do good. It's to do good. You know why? Because when you do good, guess what comes back to you? Good comes back to you. The Bible didn't say Joseph was kicking. We talked about this when we started this story. Joseph wasn't kicking and screaming when they tried to sell him into slavery. He just went with the flow. And it's mighty funny that the situations that were designed to harm him have now become situations that have become a blessing to him. Let me say it plainly. Y'all, stop trying to get even with folks and live. Do me a favor. Would you put this in the comments really quickly? Don't get even. Just live. Don't get even. Come on, put it in the comments now. Just live. They used to sing an old song back in the day that said, God got a way that's mighty sweet. And as I get older, I understand the pettiness in that song. I understand the pettiness in that song. That when you can look at life and things that people have done to you and ways that people have tried to discount you and hurt you and harm you, but then look at that and instead of addressing it, just simply say, you know what? God got away. That's mighty sweet. Y'all, that is petty in that song because it implies to us, y'all, we don't have to get even. In any situation, we don't have to get even. When all we can do is just leave. This is an important context that I want you to hold on to, okay? Because they had to come back to the same source, Joseph, to get what they needed. And let's watch what happens. Genesis 42 and verse number 7. Joseph's brothers arrive. They see Joseph. They bow down to the face with their faces to the ground, which was as custom to do to royalty. It wasn't about them recognizing Joseph. The brothers didn't recognize Joseph. So it wasn't about them recognizing Joseph. It was about them bowing to the ground to honor the customs of that country. Look at verse 7. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them. But he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. Where do you come from? He asked. Joseph recognized who they were from the start, but said, you know what? I'm going to speak a little hard and tough to them. Now, I've heard this verse translated within the context of this story so many times. You know, there's the conversation of, well, if Joseph was all of that, then why did he get mean with his brothers? And why didn't he show up nice regardless? There's that conversation. There's the conversation of what goes around comes around. You treated me bad. I'm going to treat you bad for just a second. Just let you know. But there's another thing to consider. That maybe, just maybe, Joseph had an ounce of being human inside of him. Y'all ready? He had an ounce of being human inside of him. Now, this is important. This particular part of the message is for all of you that think that it is unnatural, abnormal. Watch this. To want to get even with the people that harmed you. I'm going to say this and it's going to be misunderstood, but it's life. It is natural and normal to want to get even with people who cause you harm. It is natural and normal to want to get even with people who cause you harm. And we can criticize Joseph all we want to and say, well, Joseph's supposed to be the example. The doctor just talked about how he was. You can do all that stuff. But let me tell you something. This part of the service is for you human folks that praise God on Sunday, but your family works your nerves so much on Sunday night and Monday morning that you find yourself cussing. That you find yourself thinking in the back of your mind, I wish I could just shut them up. I want to speak to the humanity in you to let you know, y'all, that if you went through everything Joseph went through and you survived, you got a right to be feeling some kind of way. I ain't justifying it. I ain't saying that let me take it back. I'm not saying that's the best method. I'm not saying that's the only method. I'm not saying it's the healthiest method. But what I am saying is a real one. And that's the problem in spiritual spaces. We don't give people the ability to be human. I couldn't wait to get here. Y'all, I don't even think I'm going to get past this part. This might be the last note that I'm going to be able to make today, but I'm going to spend some time right here. We do not, as believers, we do not give people the right to be human. Nope. You love God. How dare you? How dare you want to cuss somebody out? How dare you want to try to get even with somebody? How dare you uh 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 wanna say something about the person that's been running you down, say something about them in the group chat? How dare their humanity is how they dare. This is gonna be hard for many of you to understand, but I'm telling you, as believers, we do not give people the right or the opportunity to be human. And we got to stop that. I understand. My argument every time I've taught this has always been that maybe Joseph talked harshly with them because while he had overcome everything that came against him, while he defeated every odd that came against him, it was a reminder that he's still human. And y'all, let me tell you about God. I've learned that every now and then you go through a situation that God uses to remind you that you're human. This is for all of you that's been beating yourself up because you still got some challenges you're trying to work through. You still got some issues you're trying to work through. You still have some problems you're trying to resolve. And it seems like when you're making progress, life hits you and it knocks you backwards. And then you question everything about your life because of one failure. I'm here to tell you, I'm giving you permission today to be human. And with that permission, doesn't mean you can do what you want to do. Doesn't mean you can go where you want to go. Doesn't mean you can engage where you want to engage. But it does suggest one thing, that when things are not right, you have a right to acknowledge that those things aren't right. Joseph had a right to feel some kind of way mentally and emotionally when the same people who sold him out now need his help. And I get it. Now, I don't want nobody to help me if they got to feel a kind of way about helping me. Then I understand that. And people should feel a kind of way when it comes to helping you. But I do realize this. This ain't the first time Joseph helped his brothers. The first time Joseph helped his brothers was in the field. You ready? The first time he helped them was in the field. I got $1 million question. Did they appreciate his help? They didn't. They underappreciated his help so much so that they sold him out. We devalue who you are so much that we're going to sell you out. Joseph had a right to do what it says in verse Where am I? Yeah, to do what he said in verse number 7, and that is to speak hostile to his brother. It was the humanity of Joseph that makes him understandable to our situation. And somebody needs to hear this today. I need some of you to stop putting on the front like everything is okay when everything ain't okay. Y'all, I told you, I don't think I'm gonna get past this. You want to learn how to be human? You ready? Stop acting like things are okay when they're not. Stop acting like things are okay when they're not. Because all you doing is people pleasing. I ain't gonna turn this to no counseling coaching session, but I could. People who act like that, who act like things are okay when they're not, they suck it up. They keep that in because they don't want to ruffle feathers or get anybody upset. What they're doing is people pleasing. They're suppressing how they feel to make people around them feel uncomfortable. And that, my friends, what make you fake. That's the way I teach people pleasing. Send me a people pleaser, and I'm here to tell you, I'm going to get in them about the importance of being authentic to what it is that you like, what you choose. People pleasers aren't like that. This is powerful. You have a right to act like things are not okay. You have a right not to show up at tables, dinners, and there are people at the table that you know don't like you. You have every right to feel some kind of uncomfortable sitting at that table. You also have a godly right to try to live peacefully with all men. Live peacefully with all men. The Bible says, strive for peace above all men or among all men, and holiness without which no man shall see the Lord. The reality is, we got to stop acting like we okay when we not. When you act like you okay and you not, you can drive your health crazy. You act like you okay and you not, you'll have your spouse thinking that the marriage is good when it ain't. When you act like you're okay and you're not, you'll have your boss at work thinking you're pleased with your job and you can't stand it. When you act like you're okay and you're not, you'll be a child that's intimidated to talk to their parent for fear of what their response is going to be. Is this making sense? And so that's where Joseph is. Y'all, I think I got time to squeeze out one more verse. I can't help it, y'all. This is just really good to me. Hold on. Where's my thing? There we go. No, that's February. Uh-oh. Here we go. Now, my iPad has really got a mind. Now I went all the way to the top. My iPad really has a mind of its own this morning. Here we go. All right. Thank you for your patience. All right. Well, hold on, y'all. Did I just delete that? No. It looked like I just deleted everything that I had. Like, that's wild. Okay, here we go. I'm tripping. It literally, my iPad, my old iPad, is really tripping. Okay, look at this. Joseph looked at him and said, "Where do you come from?" I'm in Genesis 42, verse 7. He asked, they said, the brothers from the land of Canaan. They replied, to buy food. Watch verse number 8. Although Joseph recognized his brothers, what? They did not recognize him. Verse 9. Then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected." They replied in verse 10, "No, my lord," they answered, "your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies." Uh-oh. Verse number 12, he says, "No," he said to them, "you have come to see where our land is unprotected." Verse 13, but the brothers replied, "Your servants were 12 brothers, the sons of one man who lives in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more." The youngest being with Benjamin, and the one that is no more, i.e. dead, Joseph. Y'all, you don't find it odd that these brothers just said they were honest men and then turned around and lied. Y'all don't find it odd that they just said to Joseph to his face that they were honest men and then turn around and lied? Y'all, this is the last point I got to give you. I got to wrap this up. The last point I want to give you is a simple one. 2024 is the year you have to pay less attention to what people say and more attention to what they do. This is the season you have to pay less attention to what people say. Is this making sense? Y'all fill it with hearts. Good. See you commenting. And more attention to what people do. I'm in a season of my life, y'all not going to talk me to death. I'm not going to let nobody talk me to death. I'm going to let you action me to death. You're not about to talk me to death. Don't talk me to death. Action me to death. Anybody else there? Were you tired of people talking and talking and talking and ain't doing? Don't talk me to death in any area of my life. Action me to death. This is where many of us are. And I just find it odd that they tell Joseph they're honest men, but then turn around and lied in his face. Which is more proof, y'all. We cannot pay all of this attention to what people talking about as much as we need to pay attention to what people do and say, what people do and how they show what they're all about. And Joseph is going to break them down. Like Joseph is going to break them down. And it's a beautiful thing. I can't wait to get into next week. He's going to really break them down. And they're going to feel real small when they realize that they're doing a lot of talking right now. And their actions did not align with what they just said. They are not honest men. They were not honest men. Y'all, this is indeed the season. You got to pay less attention to what people say. Y'all, you got to live your life paying attention to what people do, because what people do is a reflection of who they are, not what they say. Record it. What people do is a reflection of who they are, not what they say. You learn that lesson, y'all, your life gonna be filled with a whole lot less stress. This bless anybody this morning? Man, I hate to have to pause here. This was a word. I ain't kidding you. I'm making a note where I left off. I hate to have to pause here. This was a word. This bless anybody today? Do me a favor, fill it up with hearts. If this blessed anybody today, I want you to fill this up with hearts. Because I promise you, this was today. And we're just getting ready to get to the good part of the story. Like today was the warm-up. We're really about to get into the good part. But what a word today. Fill it up with hearts. Listen, I want to pray for you. I want you to know I'm still up. Yes, I'm still up. 4:08 in the morning. Get up, pray over your prayer request and everything concerning you. And I want you to know that I'm praying for you. You can absolutely type in your prayer requests in the comments. I go back and read those. You can type your prayer requests in the comments. Go ahead and do that now, because I want you to know I'm up 4:08 in the morning, still up. Some mornings are later now. I work so late at night on Mondays and Thursdays. And sometimes I sleep a little bit later on Tuesdays and Fridays, just because literally I'm working wire to wire. But my schedule should be loosening up hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. It's a good problem to have, because I want to remain on the Monday through Friday 4:08 schedule, because I get so much done in my life, getting up early, not only just praying for you, but really starting my day off in a fast in a great way. So I want you to type your prayer request in the comments. I see many of you are starting to do this. I want you to know I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you and your family and everything concerning you. I am absolutely praying for you, and I'm just grateful to be able to pray for you and pray for your situation and pray for everything concerning you. Do me a favor. After you type that, I want you to connect your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. We're getting ready to touch and agree. And God's going to answer your prayers right now. He absolutely is going to answer your prayers right now. And he's going to position you to be able to reap the benefits of everything that you prayed for. Come on, connect your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. Let's touch and agree. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you this morning for your word. Thank you for this awesome time of gathering and sharing that you've given us. It's my prayer. Something was said that has reminded somebody that God is still the same, regardless of the situation. He's the same God. And just as he was with us in hard times, he'll be with us in better times. It is my prayer, God, that somebody heard this message and was reminded that part of who we are in God is who we are as human beings. That we have the human right to be flawed, not to live in our flaws, not to justify our flaws, not to abuse our flaws, but we have the right to be flawed and recognize that with those flaws comes the responsibility to own them, but to also grow beyond them. Thank you, God, for your word this morning and for speaking to our hearts through your word. Now, I lift up to you right now, God, every prayer request that has been typed in the comments, every prayer request that's on the hearts and minds of your people that's so heavy that people don't have the strength to type it in or even tell a friend. We lift these requests up to you now, God, and we ask now that you would answer the prayers of your people as only you can. God, we thank you because we know you're going to make this week a week that is filled with miracles, that is filled with open doors, made ways, met needs, granted wants and expectations, that literally you're going to reach up, open up the windows of heaven, pour out a blessing that we won't have room to receive. You're going to bless us good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. You're going to send people this week into our lives to be a blessing to us in ways that we never saw coming. And God, we promise you that when you do all of these things, when you heal our body, when you fix our finances, when you continue to heal things in our families and in our careers, we promise you we are not going to take the credit, but we're going to give your name all of the glory and honor and praise that's due you. We thank you for these things and count them done in Jesus' name. Amen. Do me a favor, type in the comments quickly. It is so. It is so. It is so. God's answering prayers. I like saying that. God's making ways. God is opening doors. God's meeting needs as only he can. And listen, I am tickled and so excited about that. Listen, you want to be saved today? Maybe somebody's tuned in, watching live or watching the replay, and they're saying, Doc, I want to be saved. I heard this message and I heard myself, my life in the life of Joseph, and I want to be saved. I want to use this message as an opportunity to dedicate my life to Christ. Well, listen, you tuned the right network. The Bible tells us Romans 10:9, and I paraphrase, in essence, that if we confess with our mouths, believe with our hearts that Jesus Christ is who he is and did what he did for us, we are saved. Salvation, my friends, is nothing more than confession to salvation. It is being honest about who you are and where you are and what you're doing in your life, and allowing God to take your flaws and save you through them. That's what God wants to do today. And it's simple. How can I be saved, Pastor? Well, I can be saved by acknowledging that God exists, that his presence is real, that he lived and died on the cross for us and rose again so that we might live again. Listen, you want to be saved, stop what you're doing. If you're driving, pull over. If you're eating, put down the bacon. If you're brushing your teeth, hurry up and take it out of your mouth. I need you to talk right now. God wants to save you. Listen, say this prayer of faith with me. Say this. I'm a sinner. I'm not perfect. I've made some mistakes. I have some flaws. I even have some failures. But right now, I do believe that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin, lived on this earth just like I'm living. He suffered, bled, and died on the cross. And yet 3 days later, rose again for my sins. Because he lives, I can live, and I am saved. My friends, if you made that prayer of faith, if you made that declaration, I want to welcome you to the royal family of Jesus Christ. You've made an incredible decision. God's going to change your life forever because of this decision that you've made today. Now, do me a favor. Go find your church home somewhere where you can continue to grow and develop in your faith. Surround yourself with other believers. where you can continue to prosper through a network of community and continue to build your faith. Maybe you're saying, Doc, where I am is just really enjoying the ministry of the Rehab Experience. Listen, continue to tune in here. Continue to tune in here. We're going to give you a fresh word that continues to grow you and grow you in your faith. And I'm honored to be a part of your spiritual journey. It is a true honor indeed. And I'm so grateful for all of you. Listen, y'all, that's all I got. That's all I got. We'll probably get back into giving the first week in March. For those of you that want to contribute to my ministry, you can do that. I really just wanted to give January and February off as I'm really working on some things on the back end. But I'm so grateful for all of your support, your love, your encouragement. Listen, I hope this message made a lot of sense. If it did, I want you to make sure you share this video, like this video, share this video with as many people as you can, and then make plans to join us next Sunday, 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, we're every Sunday in the month of February. I didn't want to do every other Sunday. I wanted to start off the right way, jump out in that water. We're every Sunday in the month of February, and then we'll start to alternate in March. And I'm just so excited for what God is doing in your life and how he's allowed you to be a part of this morning's broadcast. Listen, I'm praying for those of you that did not have a Valentine. It is certainly my hope that you are using this week that celebrates love as an opportunity to reevaluate the love you have for yourself. Because the ultimate sign of love is your ability to show up healed, whole, and complete, meaning that you love you so much that if you never end up with anybody, you're okay loving you. That's next level healing that I want for you. And certainly we're praying for Pastor Joel Osteen and the terrible shooting that happened in his church on, I think it was Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Just sad. You know, there's certainly a state of affairs that we're in today. People are just really sick and evil. And I'm certainly praying for him and praying for the Lakewood family. Joel Osteen is an incredible teacher. And I listen to his work from time to time. And he's really been beneficial in many ways through my journey, in some dark seasons of my life, really listening to the way he breaks down stories to describe spiritual principles sounds eerily similar, doesn't it? And so it really resonates with our spirit. But we're praying for him and certainly the people in Kansas City who lost loved ones through the shooting as a result of the Super Bowl win. So we're praying for all of you. We love you. Have a fantastic week. And I cannot wait to see you on next Sunday, 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the Rehab Experience. Love you, praying for you, rooting for you. Have a great week. Peace and blessings now. Take care.